right? So we're throwing out the rulebook and diving straight into the unholy mess that is Venom: The Last Dance. Because clearly, Tom Hardy and his symbiote didn't get the memo that we're done with movies where the protagonist spends half the runtime talking to black goo while committing casual murder. And this time, it's darker, it's dumber, and it's going to piss off more people than a Logan Paul boxing match. Venom: The Last Dance is the latest cinematic masterpiece that dares to ask, what if a blob of alien goo had feelings, a midlife crisis, and the emotional range of a jilted teenager? Spoiler alert, it's just as awkward and unsettling as you think. But hey, if you've survived 2 previous Venom movies, you probably enjoy the sensation of being hit over the head repeatedly with plot contrivances anyway. Let's be honest, Venom's entire existence is a cinematic shenanigan that should have ended when Sony realised people only tolerated the first one, because it was 2018. And we were all desperate for any movie that wasn't Justice League. But here we are, a 3rd film later, and now it's called The Last Dance, which sounds like a crossover between Black Swan and a bad TikTok trend. Seriously, who the hell thought Venom needed more sequels? At this rate, they'll have the symbiote fighting Mr. Beast for charity money on YouTube. And that would be less ridiculous than whatever this is about to be. So, the plot? Yeah. About that, don't expect much of a plot. It's going to be the same old symbiote smooch fest. Venom loves Eddie. Eddie hates Venom. Venom eats people. Eddie acts shocked again, like he hasn't been sharing his body with an alien parasite that snacks on humans like they're Hot Pockets. The villain this time? Toxin. Because when you've already used Carnage and Riot, you just move down the list of bodily fluids. What's next? Venom versus Mucus? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony went there. Just add Marvel in the title and you've got a billion-dollar franchise. Sarcasm aside, the rumoured villain for this next symbiote shitshow is the all-powerful Knull, the god of the symbiotes, set to make his sinister debut. And let's be real, it's about time, with his edgy metal album cover appearance and a backstory straight out of a cosmic horror fan's wildest dreams. Knull is sure to overshadow not just Venom, but probably the entire Marvel universe. Expect Knull to bring a tidal wave of dread and shadowy monologues, while Venom somehow still fumbles around trying to figure out basic human emotions like sharing. But what's really going to make this film unfucking bearable, and let's be real here, is the bizarre, toxic bromance between Eddie and Venom that has all the chemistry of a PewDiePie apology video. They fight, they bicker, they might kill a few people together. It's like the ultimate couple's goals. Except instead of therapy, they just eat criminals. Rumour has it there's a subplot about a secret underground symbiote tango club, where these creatures express their inner turmoil through interpretive dance. Venom twirling around, trying to make Eddie dip. It's inevitable. The whole thing is probably a thinly veiled metaphor for Eddie's repressed desire to join Dancing with the Stars. And honestly, we're here for it. Who doesn't want to see a 7-foot-tall alien slime with teeth perform a passionate paso doble? And here's a hot take for you. Eddie Brock isn't the hero. He's the guy who somehow makes Diddy's legal problems look tame by comparison. Yeah, Diddy might be out here making headlines for all the wrong reasons, but at least he's not running around San Francisco letting his toxic tar mate gobble people's brains like it's a mukbang challenge. Shout out Nicocado Avocado. Of course, Venom's latest existential crisis involves way too much screeching, as he whines about wanting to feel something real. Because what says emotional depth more than a sentient booger trying to find itself while simultaneously causing $20 million in property damage? And Yes, they're still fighting over fried chickens and brains. It's like The Odd Couple, if Felix was a homicidal black tar sludge with self-esteem issues. The emotional climax, if we're generous enough to call it that, will involve Eddie finally accepting that Venom is his ride or die, but not in a cute, fast and furious way. No, this is the kind of ride or die where Eddie realises he's stuck in an eternal cycle of bad decisions, trauma and goo. Venom, naturally, will confess that Eddie is the only human worth not eating, because true love is letting your host live long enough to suffer more. By the end, they'll probably have a bonding moment while watching YouTube Rewind 2024, and crying about how even the internet has become a barren wasteland of disappointment and brand sponsorships. Expect a final shot of them walking off into the sunset, Venom probably eating a TikTok influencer's brain while Eddie sighs in existential despair. Of course, the weirdest part of these movies isn't the violence, or the bad CGI fight scenes, or even the fact that Venom and Eddie can't stop talking to each other like two frat bros after too many Jaeger bombs. It's the relationship dynamics. These two are practically married, and honestly I'd rather watch The Bachelorette try to navigate dating a symbiote than see one more scene of Eddie and Venom fighting like it's a 90-Day Fiancé spin-off. It's toxic, it's codependent, and the fact that it works is an absolute crime against cinema. And Venom's parenting skills? Let's not. I mean, by movie 3 we're dealing with Toxin, Venom's son. And by son, I mean spawn that he probably forgot existed. This is just a bad Father's Day Hallmark movie waiting to happen. Forget Batman's daddy issues. Venom's out here literally giving birth to problems. You think Kanye's family reunions are a mess? Venom's out here in a symbiote family feud, throwing around daddy trauma like it's candy. Let's not pretend that Venom, The Last Dance, is anything more than a corporate cash grab, trying to milk every last dollar from Marvel fanboys before Spider-Man swings back in to clean up the shit. And we'll still watch it. Why? Because the world is a mess, and we all need a break from real-life horror stories, like how influencers still have jobs. If Venom, The Last Dance were a meme, it'd be the This Is Fine dog, surrounded by flames. Only the dog is also a symbiote and the fire is your dying hope for cinema. You'll hate yourself for watching it, but it'll stick with you like a bad rash you picked up at a Gen Z festival. So, buy your tickets now, because let's face it, you're going to watch this trash fire just to see what depths humanity can still sink to. And honestly, it's probably the funniest thing you'll see this year, even if the laughter is laced with sorrow. And deep down, all the way down to my balls, I'm just glad Venom won't be belting out any tunes like the hot fucking mess that is Joker. Folie à deux. You know what they say, you either die a hero or live long enough to become a musical.